Gary Trent Jr. has the offensive potential to be the best scorer on this Raptors team in their future. Last year, Masai Ujiri and Bobby Weaver made an interesting trade when they gave up Norman Powell, who was averaging 20 points per game while shooting 44% from 3 and 50% from the field. Considering that insane production and efficiency, it was questionable to trade him for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. However, in retrospect, it made complete sense. The big takeaway from these two players was the age. Gary Trent Jr. is 22, while Norman Powell is 28. Considering their current youth movement, it was a great move. Trent averaged 16 points per game while shooting 36% from 3 and 40% overall while in a Raptors jersey. This stat line doesn't make your eyes pop or mouth water, but pair that up with the fact that he's only 22 and you start to see his potential. Trent is true to the nature of the shooting guard position. He mainly takes threes and mid-ranges, with the occasional cut or slash to the bucket. That is shown by his poor 1.82 free throw attempts a game. He is a scorer who earns his payday through shooting. Like I said, true to the nature of the shooting guard position. However, Gary is not a simple catch and shoot 3-point floor spacer, nor a one dribble pop shooter. He has showcased that his skills are beyond that and he can get even better. His 3-point shot is one of the cleanest in the NBA and it has a quick release, a great set point, and a beautiful arc. Pair that up with his amazing footwork that allows him to get into rhythm, and he has the making of being an elite 3-point shooter in this league. The underrated part of his 3-point game, though, is the confidence he has in his shot. If a defender even gives him a sliver of space, he will rise up to shoot and make you pay. This is great, especially when he is on the court with Pascal Siakam, OG, and other floor slashers because of the floor spacing he provides. However, his game is more than just the 3-point line. The part of his game that has caught my attention and should catch everyone's attention is his mid-range game. His lack of aggression to the hoop and tendency to take mid-range shots explains his below average field goal percentage. Many people say the mid-range game is dead in the NBA thanks to analytics, but players like Gary Trent constantly show that is not the case. Whether it is a simple dribble pull-up, a spin move to a fade, or a step back, Trent's ability to take and make difficult mid-range shots is valuable for a scorer, especially in the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, in the 5 playoff games he has played with Portland, he really stuck out. He only averaged 10 points per game, but he shot at a ridiculous 42% from 3. Similar to Toronto's own Fred VanVleet, he had a propensity of just making really important shots in key moments of the game and allowing Portland to keep games closer than they really should have been. At worst, he is going to be a shooter that spaces the floor for his fellow teammates. However, that is not why Masai traded for him, because he saw the potential that he can be more than just a shooter. He has room to make improvements. The first thing I want to see from him is to take some drives all the way to the cup. Deciding when to take mid-range shots and when to drive all the way is one of the hardest things to master as a young player because it only comes with experience and time. Once he starts driving to the basket more, this will allow him to increase his field goal percentage, but also get to the free throw line more than just 1.82 times a game. For someone who shoots 80% from the line, he is leaving a lot of points on the board by not being aggressive enough. The second improvement comes when the defense starts focusing on him, which is playmaking. Averaging only 1 assist per game, he has a lot of room to make in the playmaking department. Averaging only 1 assist per game, he has a lot to improve in the playmaking department. For someone who has the potential to be a great scorer, having the ability to involve your teammates is essential in confusing the defense and preventing double teams. The last thing he needs is to improve his defense. Not so surprisingly, when he was on the Blazers, his defense was his biggest weakness. For someone that is 6'5" with a 6'9" wingspan, and his stature and athleticism, he should be a much better defender. Surprising to some, but not for me, as soon as he joined the Raptors, his overall defense both on the ball and off the ball improved slightly. A welcome sight for Raptor fans, but with his measurements, I truly believe he can improve even further than that. Does he have potential to be a lockdown defender? I really doubt it, but he can be good enough to not get picked on and fit in that versatile ideology that the Raptors are building. I definitely could see him being in their all-defensive lineup next to Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam, but he does need to show a commitment and focus on that end of the floor to be a part of that specific lineup. Overall, Gary Trent Jr. has already shown a lot of promise in just 17 games with the Raptors. A whole offseason with the team will do wonders for his growth and potential. And with the little time he's spent with the Raptors, he's already had 2 performances that make your eyes pop. He dropped 31 points against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then he also dropped 44 points against the Cavs, which was a career high. In all the noise of OG and Scottie Barnes, especially with the season coming up, Trent has gone underappreciated and honestly unnoticed. Other NBA teams really need to watch out, because once he emerges from the shadows, you might find yourself looking down the mouth of a dangerous Raptor.